I just wanted to start it off, just reviewing, why these sessions got started and how they got started and kind of why they exist. And I remember Brendan he sent me a Slack message just saying, "Hey, Andrew, I'd love to start connecting. Like, I want to connect with our partners, right? We got the community going, partners are connecting. I'm always talking to partners, being a partner development manager, but, Brendan said, I really want to talk to them. And
Yeah.
so that's whenever they started. And so we just decided, let's do them every, once a month. I think we were deciding between bi-weekly or monthly, and we just said, hey, let's do it once a month. And this is a great opportunity to connect directly with Brendan and other execs who might be able to join, and here's some insights from what Brendan sees and what Brendan is looking
Well, I
at.
mean, I've been talking to partners for a really long time. It's just that
Yeah.
I don't get to do it as much anymore, so I don't meet any new ones. I the odd time I do, but I have a whole set of partners that I talk to all the time just because they've been around for a very long time. But it's really great to meet new folks and get understand where people are coming from and what they're doing and what problems they're facing, and and Andrew's talked me into sharing a little bit about what we've experienced through this change that's been induced by COVID. And so I thought I'd just share how we think about it and how we think it's changed e-commerce. And I think there's actually some ideas in there for the group, which I think are pretty important. So
Yeah.
I'm happy to do that, whenever I can.
Yeah, absolutely. So, before we jump into the presentation, I just wanted to let everyone know that, we are recording the session and we'll be making the recording available in the community afterwards. So, and Brendan, we really want this to be a place to share ideas and just experiences working with Vendasta, right? From partners.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Nice.
exactly what we're looking for.
Yeah. So I think what we'll do is, Brendan will go into, maybe we can kick it off with your presentation, and then afterwards, let's get into some questions and answers and just have a discussion with the group. What do you think?
Sure. Yeah. No, I'm totally. Well, I've been using my Google Meet, so this is going to be new for me. So I'm going to share my screen here. Hopefully, I get the right screen, and we'll go through this. Are you seeing my screen, Andrew?
Awesome. Yeah, I can see your screen there. It says Brendan King, CEO of
Yeah,
Vendasta.
that's me.
Right
And I'm
on.
going to say that I've been COVID changed me a little bit too. You can tell I lost a little bit of weight. I understand most people are gaining weight, but we have some of this food services at Vendasta. Even though I'm coming to the office, I've been taking the opportunity to, I travel in regular times probably more than half the time, and so you don't eat that well, and so I've taken this opportunity to take up some running and do a little bit things for myself. And I just want to talk a little bit about, everyone knows the world changed, so I don't want to waste any time on that and talking about what you guys already know, because we've all experienced this together. But this is the interesting thing. There's been record levels of unemployment, and what we noticed that, when this thing first happened, we didn't know what was going to happen, but it has become a 100-year event. And, I think few people that have been alive have experienced anything like this. And we're seeing, these levels of unemployment. I'm really excited to see in the US, people are starting to get out and go back to work. In where we are, we've only had 700 cases, maybe 800, I think. And there's like 3 people sick, but we're still all inside. So it's time to get back at it. At least from my perspective. And so we learned a number of things, and we reacted, and we've evolved. And I think the way that the world's done it has been kind of amazing. And what we've noticed, and I'm showing you our strategy, and I don't mind to share that, things that we learned here at Vendasta. So when this first happened, like all of you, we wanted to protect against the downside. We want to make sure our entire team was safe. And so for us, being a technology company, it was pretty easy because we could all work remotely. And so we did that. We looked after ourselves and after our customers as best we could. But the other thing that we wanted to do is we decided we wanted to take advantage of the opportunities. And I know that sounds a little bit coarse probably, but, like Winston Churchill has said, never let a good crisis go to waste. And, so we wanted to be able to be in a position where we could help our customers and help the small businesses that they serve and help ourselves too coming out of it. And so to do that, we figured what we really needed to do is understand the fundamental changes that are happening in the world that are around us called trends. So I've been in business, I guess since '89. I have my first business, and I've been watching some of these trends come and go over time. And I see that there's three trends here, and I want to share those three trends with you. And I think you'll agree. They probably seem obvious, but sometimes, people miss what that means. And the first trend is this re-rise of e-commerce. So e-commerce actually was the first. So when I got out of university, I'm a geophysicist. I was working at a uranium mine for a company called El Dorado that later became what's Cameco in Saskatchewan here. I was flying in 3 weeks in, 3 weeks out. And I started to open a little computer side store with my friend. And the next thing we knew, we were selling computers. And by, so that was '89. And by '94, we were selling $15 million worth of computers. And we had 2 shops. And of course, I wasn't, I was doing that instead of being a geophysicist. And about 1999, I was watching Amazon come along. You guys, Jeff Bezos, he started his business and he was using doors for tables. That's how it started, and selling books. And we were watching all these different companies. I said, I got to get out of this retail. Retail's hard. I'm working 7 days a week. We got inventory. The price of computers is dropping all the time. It's a terrible business. Got to get out of it. So in 1999, I went to work for a customer of ours that had a computer shop, and it was beautiful at first. So the first day I went there, I remember it was they won an award the first week I was there for the #1 .com in Canada. Little place in, we're in Saskatoon, we're right north of Denver, and no one really knows about Saskatoon, and we won that award. It was great. Nothing to do with me. We were there a few more months, and we got purchased by a company called Bid.com, which was Canada's eBay. In fact, I think I have a hat right up there from Bid.com. And they had a lot of money, and nobody cared about making money. And they had us auctioning off weird heavy equipment auctions is what we were doing. And we were losing a bunch of money. But that summer in 2000, the .com crash came. And, we ended up having to do consulting work. And so I was like, wow, I came here for this e-commerce thing, and now I'm doing consulting work. And, we ended up, getting into real estate and built a platform on a software platform for realtors that got sold in 2007 to Yardi. So we had 150,000 realtors on it. We're syndicating listings to Trulia and Zillow and all those great places. But my story is about e-commerce, and that's why I got into e-commerce. And there's this idea, it's called Amara's Law. And what Amara's Law says, it's from Roy Amara. He's a great American philosopher, by the way. But his thesis was that people always overestimate technology in the short term, but they dramatically underestimate it long term. So in the short term, it was like, oh, e-commerce is going to change everything. And then 1999, all the way through to 2000, e-commerce only penetrated small businesses about 16%. 20 years, 16% penetration. And so that's but now with this COVID crash, things have really changed. And that's where sort of people have underestimated it because you got kind of numb to it. So I think COVID's really been this forcing function. In a mere 6 weeks, it was a step function lift. What would have taken 10 years to get to 27% jumped in weeks. And I think it's actually gone even higher now. And so our thesis is that habits are being formed that aren't going to be undone. People are putting their credit card in to a phone who said, I would never do that in order to order food or do other things as a necessity. And so, e-commerce is here to stay. And now it's really become something that a small business has to have. And the problem is that many small businesses they're being disproportionately affected because they're just not ready. They're not equipped to get their share. We've seen this huge spike in crisis in consumer goods. But small businesses aren't getting it. Amazon is up 26% year-over-year sales. Walmart's up 74%, and Target's up, 141%. And so they're gobbling up the opportunity because they've been working at this for years. They've invested and they're prepared to transact and operate online, and they've been preparing. And we think small businesses are more vulnerable because they've, I think it's really worth repeating. That's where the jobs are being lost from. As it was, Amazon, Walmart, and Target were already sort of, the retail apocalypse everybody talks about. Those guys were, taking market share. And, the reason that people come to work every day at Vendasta is really to help local business. That's always been what we want to do. We want to democratize technology for local businesses. And so, the Chamber of Commerce is saying that 1 in 5 of these businesses could permanently close. We're not sure if that's going to happen. There's been a tremendous amount of money and support put into these businesses. So hopefully that's not the case. We don't think that's going to be the case. But we do think that some of these guys are at risk. Some people are saying it's the true retail apocalypse. But what we do know is COVID's been a forcing function. And what we've seen happen in months is what, would have taken 5 or 6 years to happen. But the good news is that people want to buy local, and that's your opportunity. That's a huge, I don't know if you've seen it in the States. I've been watching, I've seen it all over the place, but it seems like everybody wants to support local, and I'm really excited about that. And that means that these local businesses are searching for options. And so, because this thing's really forced their hand, right? Their business is closed or they can't even operate. And so for the time for e-commerce is now. And even as we open up, people are remembering. And so they're saying, hey, we got to get online. And so when they search, they find things like Shopify and they find Wix. And the problem with these options is, like, you could help them. And I know there's good programs for Shopify and Wix, and they're great products, but you're really building their recurring revenue. You're building their brand, and you're building an economic relationship with somebody else. And that's hard to break those relationships once they're formed. So, we're saying to our trusted experts is you got to be the one to own that relationship. And so we really think that you need to own it. You need to build your brand and your recurring revenue streams. And that's, why there's lots of white label solutions. We're one of them, but you guys are our partners and we want to help you. And so that's what we're talking about. So we think you should own that economic relationship. So that's one thing. That's e-commerce. The second trend is this shift to remote work. Man, this really got thrown on us. Suddenly I was in, where the heck was I? At a Burrell conference in Miami. And I think it must have been March 6th or 7th. And I'm, I've been reading about this COVID, and my youngest daughter, she's 12, and she's been warning me, this is coming. And I'm like, nah, she was right. But I was there at this Burrell conference in Miami, and the Brazilian conference, the president of Brazil was there next door. And we were actually mingling with those folks, and it turned out that they actually had the disease in their ranks. So when we got back, we're on the plane, we were finding out that, oh, those guys had it. And we're like, are we bringing this back to Canada? And, it's really changed things forever. And so, whoops. So people are really changing fast. And so we've seen this happen. So, Zoom went from 10 million to 200 million users overnight. Google saw a 25 times increase in daily active users, and it's still growing. And Facebook has seen twice the number of video calls. Again, it's really become a forcing function. It's really interesting. So we've noticed, though, that communications actually become more frequent but less cohesive. You guys, if you've got people in your org, you're going to see this. Like, everyone's connected all the time, but they're not really communicating really in a whole way. There's lots of instant things back and forth. They're fleeting messages. So a text, a Slack, a WhatsApp, you're on a meeting all the time. And we think that that's going to be a big challenge. We think remote work can work. We're finding that, we were more productive right out of the gate, but it's going to be a lot of work to make it work over time. So many people that already adapted technology, they're in a good place, so if you've been doing this for a while, you're like, this is easy. But we've had partners in sales, mostly in the media side, who still got into cars and went and saw customers and never really used a remote meeting. Maybe they made a phone call, but they had a really tough time having never used Zoom or Meet before. And I know some of you are thinking, how can this even happen? Well, if any of you worked for some of those traditional media companies, you know how it happened. But I think one of the things that most businesses are underestimating is how difficult it's going to be on an ongoing basis. So it's easier for guys like us because, our 400 people, most of them were here before. We're hiring some new ones, and we're saying, wow, they don't, what we're doing is we're trading on the relationships that we've built up over a long period of time. And, we're going to have to figure out how to do this with new folks. And so again, like I said, COVID's been this forcing function. And what we think it means is that you need to be really transparent and visible in your communication technology. So if you're not going to be able to go in and talk to your customers and sit down beside them and explain things to them, you're probably going to have some kind of a platform that makes it like, you probably ordered a Domino's pizza before online. You can see when the toppings get on and when it goes in the oven and everything that it does, all the way till when it's in the car until you get it. And we think that if someone orders a website from you or an advertising campaign, you need to be that transparent. And so we're going to work to let you guys have everyone in the ecosystem know exactly what's going on at any given moment. So we think that's a key. And again, like I said, we found out that our partners are having those same issues. We're hearing from all these reps who are having trouble communicating, and they just need the proper tools. And so you'll see that we've built, and some stuff hasn't been released yet, but we got this Book Me Now, which is you don't have to pay for Calendly. You can book calendar appointments, and they'll automatically integrate with Google and Zoom. That's coming out on Wednesday of next week, I think. We've been testing it for a while. It's fantastic. We've got other remote tools that we're using. We're connecting to phone systems. We're doing all kinds of things to make it easy for you guys to meet online. And then the last trend, and I'll just whip through this, is really online education. So we think a lot of people are at home. We're seeing a lot of time on their hands. They're uncertain about their future, and so they're wanting to to get some information and learning. So Udemy, for instance, is huge in online enrollments, course creation, and business usage. We've seen that kind of learning, especially for e-commerce, skyrocket. And so we were super fortunate to anticipate that demand, and so we accelerated something that we call Conquer Local. We've seen a huge amount. I don't know if any of you guys have seen it. Maybe just wave. It's we've logged, I think, now over 100,000 hours of learning, and that's each learner in there has spent more than 24 hours, so more than a day learning. So we're pretty excited about that. Now, if there's any questions for me, I see something flashing up here, Andrew. You have to be the moderator and tell me if you want me to pause now.
I think
to do that.
I think you're doing great. I see one question about your foosball game, but we'll get to that.
Oh yeah, I said I challenge anyone to beat me in foosball. I'll give you a free year subscription.
Yeah.
now
that's a great reason to visit headquarters.
That's
so
right.
guys, we got that on recording. So we'll see everybody at HQ when everything's open up.
Yeah. So we got the Learning Academy, and it's not just about learning, it's about community too. I think, in times when you can't get out and see people, it intensifies that feeling of being alone. And so a lot of people are looking for that sense of community. And that's what I've seen with Dennis Yu and with you guys and with our online community. We're really trying to help people learn and understand from each other. And so that's our next step. And this is, might be a while yet, but if some of our partners want to start their own communities, and we want to make that available to you. So if you wanted to, you could start your own community with your own customers and, turn them into raving fans. So that's the recap here. So there's really been an acceleration. E-commerce, remote work, and learning. And these things have advanced what some people say is 10 years in 8 weeks, or maybe 10 weeks now. And so that leads us to how can we take advantage of these opportunities that this acceleration has created. And you've probably heard about it from us already, but we're talking about this thing called product-led growth. And people are like, what the heck is product-led growth? Well, some people describe it simply as freemium, but what it's really about is providing your customers with value before you ever ask them for a single dollar. So, for instance, the traditional acquisition model was all about driving down a funnel to a sale. So you get a lead, you do some advertising, you do some marketing, you get a lead, and you talk to the lead, and you close a sale, and and then they would get the product. And that's really how it's been for a long time. But now, in this case, the only time they get to experience your product is after they've already paid for it. And that's not really effective anymore. I think if you even think about it yourself, you don't really want to buy something and then get it. You want to experience it first. You want to try it out. You take the car for a test drive. It's been that way for a really long time. But with software, it wasn't like that. You had to buy the box and take the wrapping paper off, or the plastic wrap off. But the same thing online. But more and more and more, it's not like that. What product-led growth is is where everything's together in an ecosystem. So the marketing starts, and then the sales, and then the success, they all blend together. And you really provide your customers the experience and the value before you even ask them for a single cent. You say, hey, I'm going to give you some meaningful value and let you do that. And that's, you know, what our online toolkits and all those things were about. That's what we were trying to do. We're trying to help you guys give your customers value and ask for dollars later. And so that, what it really means is the product is the marketing, the product is the sales. And once they experience that value, then they're more motivated. And what we've seen is that buyers want to, do that. And that, again, COVID's been a forcing function. They don't have a lot of money, but they got a lot of time. So they want to explore the solutions. They want to, build trust, and they're less likely to be sold a product by a salesperson because they can't go see one. And so instead, the product really has to do the selling. And we think it's getting increasingly expensive to acquire customers because their willingness to pay sight unseen is diminished. And so, the cost on advertising on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook continues to climb, although it was really nice in some ways. During COVID, it dropped, but it's coming back pretty strong. Those guys are taking all the advertising and making it expensive. And as a company, the value of your company with the brand that you're building, it's really good for your enterprise value. So companies who do product-led growth have about a 2.2 times more valuable company than those who didn't. And it's in every category across revenue, margin, enterprise value that you get the improvement. We've also seen that return is like this. This is a study done by ProfitWell. So just if somebody self-selects and isn't sold something, the churn goes up 10% better right out of the gate. So that's something to consider, because sometimes if you're sold something, you get pissed off or you get buyer's remorse. But if you've made the decision yourself, it's better. So how do you get started? Well, you guys all know that the product toolkit. This thing I made for some prospects, but you guys are customers, so you probably already know about the toolkit. I'm not going to waste any time there. I did want to tell you a story about a local example. I don't know if anyone's heard this or not, but this is called Amazing Stories. It's a comic and game store. In the past, so the guy's nephew works here, and he's always been trying to get him online, and he's been like, he viewed it to get online. He said, it's impossible. I could never get online. It's too hard. He said, I'd rather close my store. And then the problem is that one day when COVID did close his store, he realized, no, I don't want to close my store. So he got his nephew to help him out, and they got online. And in a weekend, they built his website. They scanned a bunch of things. They took pictures, and he started to sell more products online than he did offline. So I think there's a game called Magic the Gathering. I don't know anything about it, but apparently it's this card game, and he used to bring in $30,000 worth of these cards and then sell them. And he just got people to actually pay for them, and then he ordered them. And so he was even in a better spot. And when they did reopen the store, the physical store, he had his busiest single day ever, both in online and in offline, which I thought was a pretty amazing thing to happen. And so we were pretty excited for him. And they doubled that online revenue in the very first week. So it was pretty amazing. So really what we're saying is, I think the next 6 to 9 months are crucial. It's going to go on a lot longer than this, the change. But right now, there's a ton of small businesses looking to get online and e-commerce, and I think COVID's forced that. And I think it's going to last for a long time. And I'll give you another observation that I want to talk about, and there's a couple of local companies that were website design companies, and they provide websites that have been around for a really long time. Friends of mine, one of them lives across the street, zoo.com, a 2-letter domain he owns, which is, you know how long he's been around. But the longer you've been around, the more you were likely to have tried e-commerce. And so, if you were trying e-commerce, because it's really hard, you need a lot of things with e-commerce. And you might need to partner with some people. You need a website, and then you need, an accounting system and a POS and a till to do that. So you need a value-added reseller. Then you need internet security, so you might need an MSP. And lots of times these guys partner together, or you guys figure out how to do it yourselves and you provide the whole kit and caboodle. But whatever happens, it's not easy. It's hard actually to do it, and it's getting easier and easier, but it's not as easy as what they were doing. So they were trying to do it when the growth was really slow. And so if e-commerce has only got 10% penetration over 20 years, but websites are growing really fast. They're saying, well, let's just do websites. They're growing 5 times as fast as e-commerce. I'm going to sell websites. But now they're missing out. People are like, I'm not going to buy a website. What I need to do is get online. I'm not going to advertise in the newspaper or radio or TV or broadcast. Not when I can't even operate. I got to get online. And then after they're online, they want to advertise digitally. So what I'm saying here is you have to find a way, whether it's partner or learn, you have to find a way to enable these local businesses to transact and to operate. And so that's the thing I think some people are missing, and that's going to come at them. And we're doubling and tripling down on that, on helping our partners to be able to deliver that and build their brand and their revenue. And so that's what we're trying to do. And so I think the recovery for some is going to be slow, but I think the recovery for people doing e-commerce is going to be really fast, and it's going to be faster for you. So that's really the summary. I think how to take advantage of this new normal is to adopt the product-led growth philosophy, embrace e-commerce, build relationships, be able to work remotely, provide learning and community to your team, to your customers. And remember, I think I like the Darwin saying, it's not the strongest nor the smartest that survive. It's those that are most adaptable to change. And so that's what I prepared to talk to you guys about. And I hope that it was at least in some ways worth listening to.
That was fantastic, Brendan. Brendan, he did that same presentation at our all hands for our entire organization, and I'm super excited that you're able to do it again for our partners. To the group, are you seeing the same things that Brendan's talking about in your communities?
I think you guys tapped my computer when I signed up with you, because he's been stealing a lot of my ideas.
Josh, we've been reading your diary or something.
Yeah, something's going on over here.
Well,
because,
Josh, elaborate on that. Like, what are the good ideas? Like, what are the ideas here? Like, what are you enjoying about it?
Well, when we started with you guys, we went full bore. We were enterprise partners. Wanted to sign up to white label clients, full nine. Ran into some issues with invoicing and a couple other things, of course, now that have been resolved. And so it's been we've been, hands down, love being partners with you guys. We've grown big time. And we've just now, now that the invoicing has been implemented, starting actually bringing our clients onto the software. We've really just been using it more for like a back end, system for our clients, and then kind of having to do a lot of the other work on our own, so it was a lot of steps to it. So as we were super excited that the invoicing came out, but the package, the express package that you guys kind of put together, we had came up with that a couple months ago, and we called it like our business basics package. Nice. It was just like, these are the basics, tools that you have to have, if you want to kind of do business with us, And of course, we fluctuate some of the, products that are in those, but there's some standard services that, if they didn't have it, kind of qualified us as not wanting to do business with them. One of the things that I would say, and this is just kind of about the product-led growth, that I would say that I think the express angle is awesome. The only kind of like pro and con to it, it's awesome that people get to test it out. But some of the feedback and me kind of being an entrepreneur, owning a bunch of businesses for 23 years, is like, when you only get to use a percentage of the product, it kind of deters people away. I feel like that if we're going to give the products away for people to use, they need to actually be able to use them, the full, experience, even if it's for 14 days or 7 days or whatever, because
Josh, I kind of agree with you. And I hate to butt in on you, but I wanted to say that one of the things we're doing is we're just doing, we can just only do it so fast. So we chose the freemium version. So there's two ideas. There's freemium and trial. And so we're actually going to combine both of those ideas. So the thing is that we've got the freemium, and you can upgrade to the other ones, but we're introducing the idea of a trial, and you'll get to set the length. And then you could say, here's a freemium, and if you want, try the full version, or you could just say, here's a trial, do this, and just take the trial. So it's an and/or combination, but product-led growth encompasses both of those. And you're absolutely right. And we're going to do that so that you can choose how you want to do it. So that's really great feedback. And does that
Yeah,
address that?
absolutely. I mean, actually, we're gonna, while we're, waiting, like you said, for the processes to grow with you guys, we're actually gonna go just implement doing it for 30 days for our clients for free. If they don't like it, we're gonna give them their money back.
Whole bunch of people are doing that already
Yeah,
too.
it costs money to get a client, so it's like you might as well let them get, the full experience. And
We're gonna
if they
make
don't,
it so that you can require them to put the credit card in, or you can say no, you don't need to. We're gonna try to have all the options for you, so you're gonna make it easy.
Cool. Yeah, I see the progression, guys. We love it. We're excited. We're super stoked. Everything's been awesome.
Right on. And in that list of ideas that we've been sharing there, Josh, any
What other ideas do you have that we don't know about?
Yeah.
No.
Hey, we'll just
We'll have to do that on a private call.
Yeah, we'll connect directly on that. But
yes, I would love to do that with you guys, especially with Andrew. Andrew wasn't able to make it. We've been extremely busy, like I'm sure a lot of you guys have, and he wasn't able to make this call. But I would definitely love to sit down and talk with you guys whenever you have some time. It'd be great because we have some things we want to discuss with you.
That's fantastic. Thank you for that, Josh. Who else? Any other feedback from anybody? I took some notes. I don't know if anybody else took some notes. I saw some head shakings. Mike Corzo.
You mentioned the UDNY school, Mr. King. You had mentioned the UDNY school. That is run by LearnWorlds. Are you familiar with LearnWorlds?
No, but you can't ever call me Mr. again. I don't.
Okay, well.
No. You just call me Brendan.
No, I'm from the South, man. That's how we do it.
I just saw the No, I appreciate that. I'm just teasing you. Now we know each other, so you don't have to do that anymore. I'm not familiar. What's LearnWorlds?
So that's what UDNY uses to sell their products and their courses and everything. It's a company based out of the UK. And it's like a SaaS solution. They have a lot of courses. You can sell all kinds of online courses through them. And I've actually sent a request for you guys to look into, trying to partner with them or integrate with them, because I would love for us not to have to deal with LearnWorlds. I'd love for you guys to be able for us to do some kind of, similar thing with them, because that's what they actually use to sell all their online courses. And it's probably one of the most robust programs out there for that.
Well, I've just pulled it up and it looks like a pretty interesting site. So thank you very much. We'll have a look into that. Thank you, Mr. Langley.
Mike Corzo.
Yes.
I can see you unmuted yourself. Good to see you.
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
I'm great. And, first I want to say, Brendan, it's so good to hear that you've been running. And I was wondering why you looked so slim the last time I saw you on one of these. And I'm glad to hear it's not because of, poor health reasons or COVID.
No, I feel better than ever. I'm even having a beer.
No, that's great.
It's a light beer because I haven't been having any carbs.
I recommend Corona Premier. Corona Premier is a great light beer also. Anyway, I'm not going to take up much time. I just want to first thank you, thank Andrew, thank Brendan for making those community sessions and Dennis Yu available to us. And I just wanted to share two takeaways that have really been carrying me of late. One is one of the agency partners had suggested that we actually charge for the snapshot report and the consultation after a short intro call. I'm 2 for 2 on that, and I've just tried it this past week. So that's one thing I recommend to people to try. I mean, it's a great way to vet prospects and potential clients. If they're willing to pay for, a consultation and full access to the report, the snapshot report, and the dashboard, then you've got something to work with. So that's one thing, charge for the snapshot report. The other thing
for the consultation.
Yeah.
Snapshot report consultation, right?
Yeah, it's
not
a combination.
Just a snapshot report.
So in fact, what I did was I created my own vendor. I went in and created my own product in the vendor center. So now I can invoice directly off of that snapshot report consultation. And by the way, I did try the invoicing twice already, and it's worked both times. So in fact,
that invoicing, that stuff's got to work every time.
So I'm looking for a 100% on that.
Yeah, you'll get that.
Yeah, the next product I'll be adding in the marketplace for myself is designing landing pages through lead pages. So I'm using lead pages. Sometimes I've used Unbounce in the past, but I'm finding that to be a valuable service. That may be something that you want to, more formally offer in the marketplace, a quick way to do A/B tests of landing pages. But that's not the second. The second thing was one of Dennis Yu's suggestions, which was to follow up with any prospects you're making on social media with a video message. So that has been working really well for me. So I'm really good at going into LinkedIn and increasing my first degree connections with people in various sectors. And once they accept my connection request, I then follow up, and it's time consuming. I'm not nearly, where I want to be with all of them, but I've sent out about 30, 40, 50 video messages in the past couple of weeks. And I've gotten a good 5 or 6 super valuable leads going on right now, some of which represent like associations, which open me up to a lot of other businesses in those sectors. So video messages and charging for snapshot reports. Those are the 2 things I wanted to share.
That's awesome. I've seen a lot of people selling the snapshots for a pretty
That's
good
fantastic.
fee.
Thanks, Mike. And
Andrew, I got a quick question for everybody here. Well, now that I've got an audience, I want to ask a question about something that we've got coming down the pipe, and I get a free use group here. So the question really is, do you guys partner with other service providers to deliver solutions? So, what I do know is that in the MSP and VAR world, which is it hasn't really changed much since back in since the 90s, even, that sells hardware and internet and other things. They always partner, or many times partner together. And I'd like to understand if you guys, does somebody do websites, and then do you find a local partner to do advertising or a local partner to run campaigns? And the reason I ask is because a lot of folks are using Fiverr and Upworks, and they're great. But the knock is that it's inconsistent, and it's hard to to find those guys to make it really good. So what our idea is in the future roadmap, and so I'm giving away some secrets. So it is to allow you folks to actually partner together for different services or even different geographies. So you can partner with someone close or local, or to be able to deliver full stack solutions. So maybe you want to deliver that e-commerce, but you don't want to have to mess around with internet and security. And so you find a local MSP that will do that for you. Do you guys, so my question really is, do you partner at all? And if so, what percentage of your business would be partnering? If anyone wants to share, I'd love to hear that.
I see a couple of people in the chat. I don't know if Grant, I saw you shaking your head maybe in the yes direction. Did you have some comments on that at all?
I have actually been working on solidifying some partnerships with some other vendors that I'm familiar with that I may have worked for in the past or worked with in the past, and some vendor partners that I've recently come into contact with. TapMango is one of those, and they have a really cool rewards program / it's like a order from your phone dashboard. Well, they'll provide some hardware. So I've been trying to partner with them with one of my convenience store clients to see if I can get some mobile app ordering for one of their internal restaurants. I don't know if you guys have been like to a Speedway or to a gas station, but when they have a kitchen and they print out a receipt and then you take the receipt to the cashier and the cashier, you pay for it. Well, they want to consolidate their food sales into just a mobile app. So TapMango is one partner that I've been talking to recently. And, there's other ones out there that have some really good affiliate programs where, if you share a link or if you schedule them a demo, then you get a little bit of cash bonus right there.
Good. That's great. The idea is, that we're going to hopefully be able to allow someone like a TapMango to come into the marketplace on their own in the easy way that anyone can then just identify those vertical solutions they need. So we call them ISVs, independent software vendor, so that they can bring those services and put them together. So that's great.
Right.
How about Ty Gulick, if I pronounce that properly? I see your comment here. I have a few things in the works. Would you mind elaborating on that? Oh, you just done.
There we go.
There we go.
Thank you for asking. I appreciate it. Yeah, I've got one of my buddies that he's a director of digital marketing. And so he and I we're close friends. We've been collaborating, and he's kind of in the early stages of starting his own agency. And I told him about Vendasta. But some of like what he could do would just be so much quicker. And so, and collaboration's more fun too. So that's what I'm doing. And then I have another software that's outside of Vendasta that we've had in the works, where we're training a couple of people to use the software, but it just hasn't happened yet. I had delegated that, and I need to kind of do it myself. So that's what we're doing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
I see also someone whose name is Samsung. Samsung SMG950U. So I'm not sure who that is, but if you want to unmute and tell us who you are and introduce yourself, that'd be fantastic. And they're saying they do some partnering, but they also prefer Advice Local over Yext. So Advice Local is I know Bernadette Coleman who owns Advice, and we've known her for years. I think we're open to talking to anybody to go into our marketplace. It's just a matter of having a product that's productized that we could connect to it. So I'd be happy to talk to Bernadette.
Samsung, are you there?
Oh, that's Sally. Hey, Sally Thone.
Oh, Sally.
Yeah.
Sally, can you, it looks like
Andrew,
you may have unmuted
you know
yourself.
everybody, Andrew, hey? You know everybody?
You get to know people in the community. It's been really great getting to know, many, many partners in the community. Been making a lot of connections. And Sally, are you unmuted there? Would you mind providing some more context there, some more information? I'm not too sure. Maybe the audio isn't working there.
So we've got Wesley's also saying, can you give access to the marketplace products to the starter plans, please? I thought marketplace was open to starters. Is that not true, Andrew?
I believe it is. Yeah. Just different pricing.
I think maybe they're, yeah.
He's talking about marketing services, maybe.
Marketing services.
Marketing
is what I was thinking instead of marketplace products. We've looked at that before. The marketing services, there's a couple different levels of it. So there's marketing services where we do the gray label, where you guys do all the work with the customer and we do build the stuff. And then there's marketing services where we're white label, and where we're white label and where we talk to the customer on your behalf. There's a much higher burden there. So we have to charge in our, I hope everyone understands, we have to put that into our subscriptions and charge for that so we can afford to be able to do that. On the gray label side, I think, we have done that. What we found is, and I'll just be as honest as I can, is that there'll be a number of folks that aren't really that will get in there and just want to sell, but they'll either if you haven't actually sold a website before and you promise the world and then we have to deliver, even if it's gray label, it doesn't work out. We like people to be a real digital agency and to be able to afford to be able to open those marketing services, because what happens oftentimes is that they just don't know what's involved in selling a website, and they'll overpromise and then we'll end up under delivering, and we none of us want that. So Wesley, if you are a real marketing agency, which I hope that doesn't go the wrong way. That's not how I mean it. But we would be happy to work with you, talk to a customer with you on your behalf, and find out how we might be able to make that work for you. Because after you have, one or two customers, we can get you to that next level in a pretty easy way where you're making money. And I know that some of our sales folks will get on the phone with you and the customer and sell that with you to help you get to that place, so it's not going to cost you out of pocket. So let's maybe talk about that.
So I'm unmuted now. Can you guys hear me?
We can.
Yay! Sorry. Hi. Hi, I'm from Canada originally. My sister lives in Saskatoon. I live in LA now, so it's so cool to just be a part of Vendasta. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I've been using Advice Local instead of Yext because my understanding with my former digital marketing agency that once you stop paying with Yext, they take down all the information and the client has to start all over. You only have a choice of up to 80 listings, one of the big aggregators, and I think one voice assistant. With Advice Local, as a reseller, it's $250 a month to be a reseller, and you have all 300 listings, 4 aggregators, all 8 voice assistants.
Yeah.
They've just improved their Google My Business, and I would love to work with them through you guys. So if you guys could do a partnership, because I really don't prefer Yext, but is it true that Yext, once a client starts paying, stops paying, everything reverts back to the original incorrect information?
Let me explain that. So there's really, listings is a really complicated ecosystem. So there's all these different listings all over the place.
Right.
And you know, if you use Yext, there's a couple of advantages and some disadvantages. The advantage is you can instantly change that set of listings data today without having to do much more. You enter, you pay, and it changes the data. But it is like putting wallpaper over top of a broken wall.
A picture over a hole.
So there's no doubt about that. But it's a little more than that, because you can actually, you know, change our operations on the fly or whatever. If a hurricane's coming, you can do that. You won't be able to do that with Advice Local, but that's okay. Maybe you don't care about that. Maybe you're the kind of business that, and no one's going to call a plumber in a hurricane. So with what we do with Advice Local, and we could use them, they're really doing a service. They're kind of in a way doing your job, and let me explain that. And it's fine, because you might think that's worthwhile, like as you do, and you can make a good chunk of change on it. You know, we've got the four aggregators also, which you could buy, and you pay, I don't know what our wholesale price is, but it's like $50 for a year, right? And that'll do the aggregators. But then you could claim each of those listings and fix them yourself on their behalf. That's what Advice Local is going to do. They're going to go into all those places and submit the listing on your behalf. And so that's a lot of work. So if you feel like that's valued, that's absolutely something. And we're talking about bringing in. There's a number of folks that do that. And so you can manually, like, Sign Up has a whole crew in India that does that, and there's a whole bunch of products that do that, or you could do it yourself. What we're finding more and more with listings, we think the listing ecosystem should be free. Why should a business have to pay this site to get their proper data there? And so, you know, our take on it is it should be democratized for that business. That's why, you know, we've got our listing sync area where we got Google, we've got Facebook, we got LinkedIn, and we got Twitter, and you can connect those on behalf of the customer for free. And then you got an instant sync, right? And then what we say is, after that, what we're finding is now the other sites are starting to matter less and less and less. So it used to be that Yellow Pages was a really important site. It's not really like that anymore. We all know that. So, but what we're doing is we're finding those other important sites, and we want to add them for free. And all we have to do is get to a place where there's critical mass and we have better information. So the listing sites, what they really want is what your customers have. They want pictures, they want inside information, they want specials, they want coupons. It's more valuable to them. I don't understand why you should have to pay to give it to them. So our philosophy is, and I know this doesn't help you short term. So short term, I'm happy to put a product like Advice Local in there so that you guys could, you know, start to use that and make it work. Or you could say, give me the $250 and I'll submit to the 5 or 6 sites that really matter. And then eventually it'll get to those other sites. That's what we think with the aggregators. If you take the stuff and you put it on, you know, Info USA Localese, Infogroup Localese, Factual, Foursquare, it will start to get out there, and it will eventually get there on its own. In fact, the best one to put it on is Google, because you know, GMB is really giving it to everybody else. Like, once you change that data, it's funny. I have a thing called rabbit groomers. So we wanted to test what would happen. No one grooms rabbits. It's not a thing, I didn't think. but so we made a site called Rabbit Groomers, and it's everywhere now, and it's fake. So we only put it on Google. Want to see how far it got? It got a lot of places. And so, so I think there's something there for you, but people do want to see their listings correct and they want it done for them. And so there's lots of opportunities in the spectrum. I hope that helpful, but I'll talk to Bernadette and see if they're ready to, it's hard sometimes to take a service though and put it in our marketplace because it's not productized because they're doing some manual stuff. So we are actually, that's exactly what we're working on, where we get these relationships. And so we're the peer-to-peer thing I just spoke of. So we'll be in a place sometime, hopefully this year, where we'll be able to take a service like that and make it available in the marketplace, and you'll be able to buy it.
That'd be awesome, because to be able to have that on your dashboard rather than to have it separate would be awesome. Thank you.
That's exactly it. Everything's also one sign-in, one login, one UI, one set of reports and alerts. Yep.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thanks, Sally.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for calling in from looks like you're calling in from your car.
Yeah, I had to go get medication. I have an emergency root canal on Monday.
Oh shoot. Hopefully it goes well.
Thanks.
Hey, we have a few minutes left, and while Brendan was doing his presentation, I saw a few people maybe react to some points that some of our teams have been working really hard on, and one of those points was transparency with the pizza tracker is what we call it, the Domino's tracker. Being open and transparent with your SMBs, with your clients about where the projects are at, how everything's moving along. I'm wondering if anybody has any feedback on that. Are you excited about it? Grant, I can see you immediately unmuted yourself there. I'd love to hear from you.
So it's just been an interesting thing for me, and I don't know, it might have a lot more to do with what SMBs I've been approaching in my connections, or my professional connections, because I have years of outside sales, inside sales, phone call sales, I've done all kinds of sales. And what I've found though, and when I said that people are not interested in listings, they're interested, but it's more like they don't care how we made the pizza or how it baked in the oven. They just want to make sure it tastes good. They don't care what's in the soup. They just want to make sure that they're satisfied with the end product. And that might just be because I'm approaching a specific demographic or a certain kind of connection. But as a marketing expert myself, I'm finding that I've had 3 active clients tell me, I don't really care how you do it, just get it done.
Yeah.
They don't sound that mean, but that's kind of like the message. So, but it's been good. And listings is very.
Those are the best customers.
Yeah, I know. I wish all the customers were like that too. But there's there's some other things that happen in terms of it depends on the products you're selling too.
Yeah.
Like if you're selling a website, one of the things that we've found is there can be an accountability issue somewhere along the line, and it's usually a gap in communication. It's where the salesperson from company X, probably usually a typical traditional media company that doesn't really do this, has sold something to a small business, a website say, and and then placed the order through their crazy arcane system, and it lands into the Vendasta ecosystem, and we're like, what kind of website do we build? And so we ask the small business and maybe or the salesperson, and nobody responds, and then 10 days later, 20 days later, someone's like, where the hell is the website? And we're like, well, we'd have to know a little bit more about the business to be able to make that. So the idea is to keep everybody in the loop, but it also is to enforce accountability so that the salesperson knows that, hey, we're waiting for information from the customer and they're not getting back to us. And so they know, oh, wait, something's happening here. So it's in a situation, Grant, where you're doing what you're doing, where you have a high touch set of customers who you obviously care about, no problem. You've solved the problem. You're transparent with them probably every single day. In a situation where you've got people in a machine with so much going on, there's no transparency. They don't know what's happening, and things get lost and things get missed. Where you aren't letting that happen to your customers because you care about your customers, which we really appreciate, by the way.
Brendan, have you been looking at my service tickets lately? Shame on you.
No, I haven't.
No, it's true though, and it's just, and I've noticed that, and I've really enjoyed Vendasta, and I've enjoyed my time, and I am learning a lot about how the system works. So it's a gigantic ecosystem. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to read my blog my blog on it, but I wrote an article about it, and it's like I compared it to a kid in a candy store who's lost, and they're scared, but they're really happy to be surrounded by so much goodness. So it's just a very robust thing, and it's a lot to learn. It's a big learning curve.
I'm
So
certain-
Grant, that kind of
Oh.
ties into another point that I wanted to ask the group about, was about the Conquer Local Academy and the community. Have you got into the academy? Has it helped you, get to know the platform, all the different centers connected in the community, got to know other partners? I'd love to hear from you or anybody else on the Conquer Local Academy if that's helped you. Grant, I could see you going like this. It's okay. Like if you no,
It's been good. Yeah, I've enjoyed it. I've been catching up on all the videos the past week, because I really
Nice.
rushed into Vendasta. When I got into Vendasta, I just wanted to sell, and
Yeah, totally.
So I ran into a lot of self-inflicted issues, but that was on me. So I'm doing great now. I'm doing better.
And which sessions have you been reviewing? Like we have the community sessions, we have the think tanks. Is there like which ones have you been reviewing, or all of them?
Oh, mostly all of them, but I've been doing a lot. Well, mostly the think tanks. I think
Yeah.
I went through the first 3 or 4 episodes the past few days, and I also went into what is the Master Sales course.
Yeah.
Been watching a few episodes in those. So yeah.
Awesome. That's good. Any other feedback? Asen or Asen? I can see that you unmuted. Asen, I'd love to hear from you. Do you have any comments there?
I think it's a great platform, great resource of so many different things. So I have been exploiting all the resources which are there in terms of learning from Dennis Yu, learning some things on a snapshot from George Leith. So I think it has been a good for me. It make me much more feel like confident about how I can go out and prospect.
Awesome.
So it's 5-star, and I'm looking forward for the session 2, the episode 2.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks, Asen.
Well,
Hey,
I want to tell everybody I really appreciate everyone, coming, because I always think, who wants to hear from me? So I really appreciate you guys coming, and it was a lot of fun. And the time flies by so fast. I see it's already 5. I have another meeting, but I'll stay for a little longer, because I'm just trying to tell them that I'll be there in a minute. But it's great to have all you guys show up. I'm humbled and impressed, and thank you very much for your business. I want to make sure I get that out.
Well, maybe Nate, I could see that you unmuted yourself there, and I know that you've been, involved in the community sessions and the think tanks, and maybe, we can let Brendan get to his next meeting here, but would love to hear from you before we close things
Yeah,
out.
thanks, Andrew. Honestly, I have to say that the curriculum and the courses you've been putting down are great. I've scaled, and I'm ready for like Asen there. Ready for season 2, because that's the point where my business is at. So I'm really excited for that piece. But even going back and listening to Janice over the last couple of weeks, that was awesome to be able to bill for that power hour time. And I'm putting all that together like she has, so I can completely transform my business and make some extra revenue throughout the week, rather than just talking to clients that, I think when they'll pay that money, they won't check their email as much when you're going through that snapshot. I think they're going to pay a lot more attention when you're charging for that power hour. So I've gotten a lot out of all that. And then Brendan, to speak what you were talking about earlier, while we were working, or what you've been presenting, I was working in Task Manager, loading some monthly tasks for my clients so that they can see it from the business center and be able to know right where it's at if we're waiting on them or waiting on. That's a great tool as well. So I appreciate that that's available to us out here as well.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I think with that, thank you everyone. We really appreciate your partnership, and thank you, Brendan, for spending the time.
Oh no,
Friday.
you guys have a great weekend. I hope hope you get some great weather, and looking forward to see you next time we have one of these.
Awesome.
Thank
So
you.
everyone, keep healthy, stay safe, have a great weekend. We'll see ya.
Bet.